German freight agent Schultz. I have not the least idea, Mr. Trant. Or Walcott, the American patent medicine man? I know no more of him than of the other. Whether either of them is in Chicago now is precisely what I would like to know myself, Mr. Trant, and I hope you will be able to find out for me. I will do my best to locate them. By the way, Mr. Axton, you have no objection to my setting a watch over your family home, provided I employ a man who has no connection with the police. With that condition, I think it would be a very good idea, Axton assented. He waited to see whether Trant had anything more to ask him. Then, with a look of partially veiled hostility at Karl, he went out. The other followed, but stopped at the door. "We, that is, Miss Waldron, will hear from you, Mr. Trant?" he asked with sudden distrust. "I mean, you will report to her as well as to Mr. Axton?" "Certainly, but I hardly expect to have anything for you for 2 or 3 days." The psychologist smiled as he shut the door behind Karl. He dropped into the chair at his desk and wrote rapidly a series of telegrams which he addressed to the chiefs of police of a dozen foreign and American cities. Then, more slowly, he wrote a message to the Sherlock Medicine Company of New York, and another to the Norddeutscher Lloyd. The first 2 days of the three Trant had specified to Karl passed with no other event than the installing of a burly watchman at the Axton home. On the third night this watchman reported to Miss Waldron that he had seen and driven off, without being able to catch, a man who was trying to force a lower window, and the next morning, within half an hour of the arrival of the Overland Limited from San Francisco, Trant called up the Axton home on the telephone with the news that he thought he had at last positive proof of the mysterious man's identity. At least he had with him a man whom he wanted Mr. Axton to see. Axton replied that he would be very glad to see the man if Trant would make an appointment in 3/4 of an hour at the Axton home. Trant answered, and 40 minutes later, having first telephoned young Karl, Trant, with his watchman, escorting a stranger who was broad-shouldered, weasel-eyed, of particularly alert and guarded manner, reached the Axton doorstep. Karl had so perfectly timed his arrival under Trant's instructions that he joined them before the bell was answered. Trant and Karl, leaving the stranger under guard of the watchman in the hall, found Miss Waldron and Axton in the morning room. "Oh, Mr. Karl again," said Axton sneeringly. "Karl was certainly not the man you wanted me to see, Trant. The man is outside," the psychologist replied. "But before bringing him in for identification, I thought it best to prepare Miss Waldron, and perhaps even more particularly you, Mr. Axton, for the surprise he is likely to occasion." "A surprise?" Axton scowled questioningly. "Who is this fellow? Or rather, if that is what you have come to find out from me, where did you get him, Trant?" "That is the explanation I wish to make," Trant replied, with his hand still upon the knob of the door, which he had pushed shut behind him. "You will recall, Mr. Axton, that there were but 4 men whom we know to have been in Cairo, Calcutta, and Cape Town at the same time you were. These were Lawler, your servant Beasley, the German Schultz, and the American Walcott. Through the Sherlock Medicine Company I have positively located Walcott. He is now in Australia. The Norddeutscher Lloyd has given me equally positive assurance regarding Schultz. Schultz is now in Bremen. Miss Waldron has accounted for Beasley, and the Charing Cross Hospital corroborates her. Beasley is in London. There remains, therefore, the inevitable conclusion that either there was some other man following Mr. Axton, some man whom Mr. Axton did not see, or else that the man who so pried into Mr. Axton's correspondence abroad and into your letters, Miss Waldron, this last week here in Chicago, was Lawler. And this I believe to have been the case." "Lawler?" the girls and Karl echoed in amazement, while Axton stared at the psychologist with increasing surprise and wonder. Lawler? Oh, I see. Axton all at once smiled contemptuously. You believe in ghosts, Trot. You think it is Lawler's ghost that Miss Waldron saw. I did not say Lawler's ghost, Trot replied, a little testy. I said Lawler's self in flesh and blood. I am trying to make it plain to you. Trot took from his pocket the letters the girl had given him 4 days before and indicated the one describing the wreck. That I believe the man whose death you so minutely and carefully described here in this letter as Lawler was not Lawler at all. You mean to say that I didn't know Lawler? Axton laughed loudly. Lawler, who had been my companion in 16,000 miles of travel? Trot turned, as though no reopened the letter, into the hall, then paused once more and kindly faced the girl. I know, Miss Waldron, he said, that you have believed that Mr. Lawler has been dead these 6 weeks, and it is only because I am so certain that the man who is to be identified here now will prove to be that same Lawler that I have thought best to let you know in advance. He threw open the door and stood back to allow the Irish watchman to enter, preceded by the weasel-faced stranger. Then he closed the door quickly behind him, locked it, put the key in his pocket, and spun swiftly to see the effect of the stranger upon Axton. That young man's face, despite his effort to control it, flushed and paled, flushed and went white again. But neither to Carl nor the girl did it look at all like the face of one who saw a dead friend alive again. I do not know him. Axton's eyes glanced quickly, furtively about. I've never seen him before. Why have you brought him here? This is not Lawler. No, he is not Lawler, Trot agreed, and at his signal the Irishman left his place and went to stand behind Axton. But you know him, do you not? You have seen him before. Surely I need not recall to you the Special Officer Burns of the San Francisco Detective Bureau. That is right. You had better keep hold of him. Sullivan, and now, Burns, who is this man? Do you know him? Can you tell us who he is? Do I know him? The detective laughed. Can I tell you who he is? Well, rather, that is Lord George Albany, who got into Claude Shelton's boy in San Francisco for $30,000 in a card game. That is Mr. Arthur Wilmering, who came within a hair of turning the same trick on you Stuyvesant in New York. That, first and last, is Mr. George Lawler himself. Makes a specialty of cards and rich man's sons. Lawler? George Lawler? Carl and the girl gasped again. But why? In this affair he used his own name, the detective continued. Is more than I can see, for surely he shouldn't have minded another change. He met Mr. Howard Axton in London, Trot suggested, where there was still a chance that the card cheating in the Sussex Guards was not forgotten, and he might at any moment meet someone who recalled his face. It was safer to tell Axton all about it and protest innocence. Howard Axton? The girl echoed, recovering herself at the name. Why, Mr. Trot, if this is Mr. Lawler, as this man says, and you believe, then where is Mr. Axton? Oh, where is Howard Axton? I'm afraid, Miss Waldron, the psychologist replied, that Mr. Howard Axton was undoubtedly lost in the wreck of the Gladstone. It may even have been the finding of Howard Axton's body that this man described in that last letter. Howard Axton drowned. Then this man, Mr. George Lawler's specialty being rich men's sons, said the psychologist. I suppose he joined company with Howard Axton because he was the son of Nimrod Axton. Possibly he did not know at first that Howard had been disinherited, and he may not have found it out until the second Miss Axton's death, when the estate came to Miss Waldron, and she created a situation which at least promised an opportunity. It was in seeking this opportunity, Miss Waldron, among the intimate family affairs revealed in your letter to Howard Axton, that Lawler was 3 times seen by Axton in his room, as described in the first 3 letters that you showed to me. That was it. was it not